Hey guys, this is Yao here and you're welcome back to another lesson right here on learnakan.com. So the other day when we looked at how to introduce yourself in Chi, if you missed that, please click on the link above to go check it out. So in that lesson, I mentioned that the phrases of that lesson are going to help you not just to introduce yourself properly in Chi, but they will also help you to be able to answer some basic questions that you might come by when you're talking with a Chi speaker, especially for the first time, right? But in that lesson, we focused on the self-introduction bits, right? We didn't look at the questioning bit. And I imagine if you meet up with a Chi speaker for the first time, you don't want to be a robot, right? You don't want to just be standing there and then answering questions that will be thrown at you. So to get a conversation going, first you need to be able to understand the questions that are thrown at you. That is one. And you also need to be able to ask some of these questions back at the person to be able to get to know the person better, right? And that is how you get a conversation going. So today I want us to explore the self again, but this time around in an interactive questions and answers kind of format. All right. So let's get to know each other by looking at some basic questions about the self as well as responding to them. So just as we did with the first one, we are going to divide this lesson into sections, and each section is going to deal with an aspect of the self. All right. So we are going to be asking and responding to questions like, what is your name? What do you do by way of work? Where do you live? Where are you from? How many siblings do you have? And all that. All right. So that's what we are looking at in today's lesson. Coming right up. Again, let's start with your name. All right. So to ask for someone's name, which we've already done in a separate video lesson, you can click on the link above to go check it out if you want. So to ask for someone's name, there are 4 basic ways of doing that, just as we had for telling the name. So you can ask, Wudin the same. Wudin the same. Okay? Wudin the same. Or you can ask, Yefre was saying. Yefre was saying. Okay? Yefre was saying. Or Wofre was saying. Wofre was saying. Wofre was saying. Or what they saying. What they saying. What they saying. Okay, so you can use any of these to ask for someone's name. Okay, and in response to any of these, you can use any of the responses that we looked at in our other video. Okay, so you can say Midin de Yao, for example. Okay, Midin de Yao. All right, or you can go with Yefre me Yao. Yefre me Yao. Okay, Yefre me Yao. Or Wofre me Yao. Wofre me Yao. Okay, or Mede Yao. Mede Yao. And again, you can use any of them. All right, there's no rule as to which one to choose, at which instance. You can use any of them, and it doesn't even matter which of the questions that was thrown at you. Okay, so whether you were asked, Wudin the saying, your friend was saying, or friend was saying, what they saying, any of them, you can use any of the responses to respond to any of the questions. Now let's move on to the nickname. So how do people generally call you? How do your friends call you? All right. So for that, we ask, Wonam fonom fre was saying. Wonam fonom fre was saying. Wonam fonom fre was saying. So nam fonom is friends. All right. So wonam fonom fre was saying. Your friends call you what? What do your friends call you? All right. Wonam fonom fre was saying. So in response to this, just as we did in the previous video, you can say me nam fonom fre me AB, for example. Okay. Me nam fonom fre me AB. We can also ask, saying na ye fre wo fie. Saying na yefre wo fie. How do they call you at home? Okay, so what name do they use to call you at home? Saying na yefre wo fie. Or we can flip this, we can say yefre wo saying wo fie. Yefre wo saying wo fie. Yefre wo saying wo fie. So in response to this, you can say yefre me amachi dede wo fie. Okay, yefre me amachi dede wo fie. So to connect all that we've looked at so far, we can say Midin de yaw. Me nanfonum frɛ me ebi. Nanso ye frɛ me amachi dede wo fie, for example. Now let's move on to where you are from. So to ask someone where he or she is from, you simply ask wo firi he. Wo firi he. So from our previous video, we said that free is to come from. Okay, free, to come from. And then we have he, which is the question word where. Okay, so wo free he. You come from where? Where do you come from? Okay, wo free he. So in response to this, just as we did in the previous video, you just say me free, and then you add the name of the place where you are from to it. Okay, so when I was asking you the question, because I am addressing you, I used the pronoun you, which is wo. So I asked you, wo firi he? You come from where? Where do you come from? Okay, now you are responding for yourself, so you change the pronoun from wo to me. Okay, so you say me free, and then you add the name. I am from maybe Kumasi. So wherever you are from, just add it to me free, and then you have it. So you can say me free Techimai, me free Kumasi, me free Nkran, me free Obuasi, and on and on. Okay, if you're from America, me free America. Now let's go to where you live. So to ask someone where he or she lives, you simply ask, what's a he? What's a he? What's a he? Okay, so te is to live at, okay, to stay at, and then we have the wo, okay, and then the he is again the question word where. All right, so you live at where? Where do you live? What's a he? And again, just as the previous one, to respond to this, you just change the pronoun from wo to me. So you have mete. Okay, mete. I live at, and then you add the name of the place where you live. So mete Pampaso. Okay, mete Pampaso. Mete Tafo. Mete London. Okay, anywhere that you live, just add it to mete. You are done. Now let's go on to nationality. So to ask for someone's nationality, you simply ask, woye DNA. Woye DNA. Woye DNA. So the ye here is the to be verb. All right. So if you have woye, that is you are. Okay, you are. So the dien here is what. What. And then we have the ni, which is the person suffix. If you don't know what this is, please go back to our earlier lesson on the self. Okay, very important. But just to recap for the purpose of this, we said if you attach this ni to the name of, for example, any country, you are saying a person from that country. So if you say Ghana ni, for example, that is Ghanaian. If you say American ni, that is American. If you say Kenya ni, that is a Kenyan. All right. So if you attach ni to the name of any country, you are saying a person from that country. All right. But not just that. If you attach this ni to the name of a tribe, then you mean a person from that tribe. Okay. So if you say Asantini, for example, that is an Ashanti. Okay. If you say Nkrani, that is a Ga. So to ask for someone's nationality and even tribe, you ask, woye DNA. And literally, this is you are what person. what kind of person are you by way of your nationality or your tribe. Okay, so in response to this, you just say meye dash ni. Okay, meye dash ni. So if you are from Ghana, you just put Ghana before the ni and you have meye Ghana ni. Meye Ghana ni. If you are from America, you say meye America ni. Now let's go to where you were born. So to ask someone where he or she was born, you can ask yewo wohe. Yewo wohe. Or you can ask wo wohe. Wo wohe. When we use the wo like that, learners find it difficult. So maybe you should just stick with the yewo wohe for now, right? That's what you mostly hear anyway. So we have yewo wohe. And from our other video, I told you that the wo here is to give birth, to born. So yewo wohe, you were born at where? And in response to this, just as we looked at in our previous video, you say yewo me wo, and then you add the name of the place where you were born to it. Okay, so we have yewo me wo Kumasi. Now let's go on to where you grew up. Okay, so to ask someone where he or she grew up, you can ask wunyini wohe. Wunyini wohe. So in our other video, I told you that nyini is to grow, right? Nyini, to grow. And then we have the he, which I told you earlier that it's where, right? So wunyini wohe, you grew up at where? Where did you grow up? So in response to this, you can say minyini wo, and then you add the name of the place where you grew up to this. Okay? Minyini wo Santase, for example. Okay? Minyini wo Santase. Minyini wo Tafu. Now let's move on to occupation. So to ask someone what he or she does by way of work, you can ask woye ejuma ben. Woye ejuma ben. Woye ejuma ben. So the ye here is high toned, right? Woye, not oye. Okay? If you bring it down, if you say woye, that becomes you are. Okay? The to be verb, you are. Woye. But if you take it up, woye, that is you do. So you have woye, woye. So I can say woye Asantini, for example. You are an Ashanti. But if I say woye, that is you do. So here we are asking woye ejuma ben. And ejuma here is work, noun, okay, not the verb. The noun work. And then we have ben, which is the question word which or what. All right. So woye ejuma ben, you do which work, or you do what work. We can also flip this and say ejuma ben na woye. Ejuma ben na woye. So when we looked at the question words, the 3 question words, if you missed those, please check the link above. So when we looked at the question words, I told you that we are able to bring the question word to the front or take it to the back, just as you do in English. Okay, so in English, you're able to say, what work do you do? Or you do what work, right? Where do you go? You go where, right? So we are also able to do that in Chi, right? So the first one, I said, woye ejuma ben. So as you can see, the question word is at the end, and then we are able to flip that and we have ejuma ben na woye. We can also ask for where it is that you work. Okay, so the place where you work. So for that, we can ask woye ejuma wo he. Woye ejuma wo he. Okay, so instead of woye ejuma bang, what work do you do? Now you're asking woye ejuma wo he. So where is it that you work? Woye ejuma wo he. Since we have the question word here, we can also flip this, and then we have ehe na woye ejuma. Ehe na woye ejuma. Again, please check out the lessons on the question words if you don't get these flips, all right? So we have ehe na woye ejuma or woye ejuma wohe. So in response to this, just as we mentioned in our previous video, we said there are 3 basic ways that you can tell your occupation. So I said you can tell what you are, as in what you are by way of profession. So if you say, for example, I'm a teacher, right? That's your profession. So you can tell that, or you can tell the activity itself, what you do, right? What is it that you do? I teach, right? So the first one we had, I'm a teacher. The second one you can have, I teach, right? And then you can also tell where you work. So you can say, I work at, and then you put the name of the place where you work, as in the name of the company or the name of the location, the place where the company is located. So for the first one, telling what you are by way of occupation, you can say, meye. Okay, meye, I am, and then you add the name of your occupation to it. Again, I'll leave a link to the lessons on occupations, right? The vocabulary on occupations. So you check them out. If you find yours in there, you just add it to meye, and then you have it. All right. So me being a teacher, I'll just say meye or training. If I were in Parliament, for example, then I would say meye mrashe bejani. Meye mrashe bejani. Now let's go on to the second one. So what you do, as in the activity that you're engaged in by way of work, right? So in English, you say, I teach. In Chi, I will say, mechre adie. Mechre adie, all right? If I bake bread, for example, I would say, meto pano. Meto pano. And to the last one, which is where you work, so the place where you work, I can say, meye ejuma wo nkran. Meye ejuma wo nkran. Or I can put in the name of the company where I work. So I can say, meye ejuma wo KFC, for example. Now let's move on to education, all right? So where you school or where you schooled, all right? So to ask someone where he or she schools presently, you can ask, woko suku wohe. Woko suku wohe. So you can see the trend here, right? As you can see, the wohe is for the questions that solicit where something happens, right? So wohe at where, right? So all the questions that are soliciting a place, right, where somebody does something ends with the wohe, all right? So woko suku wohe. Ko is to go, right? To go. And then suku is school. Borrowed, obviously, right? So woko suku wohe. You go to school at where? All right, where do you attend school? So in response to this, you just change the pronoun from wo to me, and then you have meko suku wo. Now you are not asking a question, so you don't have to bring the question word he. Okay, the moment you bring the he, you are asking a question back. Okay, so meko suku wo. And then in place of the question word, you put the name of the school that you attend, okay? Or the place where your school is located, okay? So, meko suku wo asantemai ntoaso suku, for example, okay? Meko suku wo asantemai ntoasoɔ suku. Now the question was, where do you school presently, right? So where do you school? Wokɔ suku wɔ he? And by the way, since we have a question word here, you should know that we can also flip this and then we can have ɛhe na wokɔ suku, and it will mean the same thing. Okay? Ɛhe na wokɔ school. So this question was asking for where it is that the person schools at the moment. Okay? But what if the person has completed the school and you want to ask, where did you attend school? For that, we can ask, wokɔ suku wɔ he? Wokɔ suku wɔ he? Okay? Wokɔ suku wɔ he? So the only difference between this and the other one is the tense on the verb kɔ, which is to go. So we have turned this into the past tense form, which is kɔ, all right? Because we said to form the past tense of a chi verb that is being followed by an object or an adverbial, you simply double the final letter of that particular verb. Again, please check our lessons in the chi tenses series. Very important. And then we can flip this also, so we can ask, ɛhe na wokɔ suku? Ɛhe na wokɔ suku? And it's the same thing. So in response to this, I can say, mekɔ suku wɔ, and then you add the name of the school that you attended. All right? Mekɔ suku wɔ Asanteman ntoasoɔ suku. Okay? Mekɔ suku wɔ Mmɔfraturo ntoasoɔ suku. We can also ask, wowie suku wɔ he? Wowie suku wɔ he? All right? Wowie suku wɔ he? So wie is to complete. Okay? Wie, to complete or to finish. All right? Wie, as in to finish an activity, to finish something. So wowie suku wɔ he? You completed school at where? Again, we can flip this. We can just ask, ɛhe na wowie suku? Ɛhe na wowie suku? And in response to this, you can say, miwie suku wɔ ɔsɛe kyerɛkyie ntoasoɔ suku. Miwie suku wɔ ɔsɛe kyerɛkyie ntoasoɔ suku. And those of you who don't know which school this is, that is what we call Okes in Kumasi. Now we move on to family. So let's ask how many siblings your addressee has, right? So for that we can ask, wo nuanom yɛ dodoɔ sɛn? Wo nuanom yɛ dodoɔ sɛn? Wo nuanom yɛ dodoɔ sɛn? So nuanom is the plural of nua, okay? And nua is sibling, okay? So we have nuanom siblings. So wo nuanom yɛ dodoɔ sɛn? Dodoɔ is many, quantity, okay? So we have wo nuanom yɛ dodoɔ sɛn? How many are your siblings? Or we can ask, wowɔ nuanom dodoɔ sɛn? Wowɔ nuanom dodoɔ sɛn? And please note that on the streets you are likely to hear this without the dodoɔ. Okay, so with or without the dodoɔ, it still means the same thing, right? So I can ask, wowɔ nuanom sɛn? Wowɔ nuanom sɛn? Okay, and I can also ask, wo nuanom yɛ sɛn? Wo nuanom yɛ sɛn? In response to this, just as we did in the previous video, you can say, me nuanom yɛ mmiɛnsa, for example. Okay, me nuanom yɛ mmiɛnsa. So if you have 3 siblings, you say, me nuanom yɛ mmiɛnsa. Or, mewɔ nuanom mmiɛnsa. Mewɔ nuanom mmiɛnsa. mewo nianom miensa. So whichever number of siblings that you have, just replace miensa with that and you are done. So how about the number of people in your family in general, right? So to ask for the number of people in someone's family, you can ask nipa dodoɔ sɛn na wɔwɔ w'abusua mu. Nipa dodoɔ sɛn na wɔwɔ w'abusua mu. Nipa dodoɔ sɛn na wɔwɔ w'abusua mu. So we have nipa, which is people, all right? So this is a plural of nipa, a human being, a single person, okay? So we have nipa dodoɔ sɛn na wɔwɔ w'abusua mu. I told you earlier that dodoɔ is quantity, how many there are, okay? So nipa dodoɔ sɛn na wɔwɔ w'abusua mu. How many people are there in your family, okay? And in response to this, just as we did in the previous lesson, you can say nipa dash na wɔwɔ m'abusua mu. Nipa dash na wɔwɔ m'abusua mu. So whichever number of people there are in your family, just put it in the placeholder and you are done. Okay, so if you have 100 people in your family, you can say nipa ɔha na wɔwɔ m'abusua mu. Nipa ɔha na wɔwɔ m'abusua mu. If you have 1,000 people in your family, you can say nipa apem na wɔwɔ m'abusua mu. Nipa apem na wɔwɔ m'abusua mu. Again, if you don't know your numbers, please click on the link above to go check them out. We move on to relationship status, all right? So are you married? Are you not married? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? All right? So to ask someone if he or she is married, you simply ask, waware. 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 So ware means to marry. Okay, so the verb to marry. So waware. You are married? Are you married? So in response to this, as we did in the previous video, we said if you are married, you say ane, yes, maware, I'm married. Okay? Ane, maware. If you are not married, you go with debi, menware ye. Debi, menware ye. Debi, menware ye. Okay? Now, to ask if someone has a girlfriend or boyfriend, you ask, Wuwo mpena. Wuwo mpena. Wuwo mpena. So, mpena is boyfriend or girlfriend. We don't distinguish between the genders when it comes to these things, okay? So, we have Wuwo mpena. Do you have a boyfriend or girlfriend? Okay? So, again, in response to this, if you have one, you say ane mewo mpena. Ane mewo mpena. Yes, I have a girlfriend, or yes, I have a boyfriend. So the wo here is to have. Okay? So the verb to have, which we have a whole lesson dedicated to that up here, because this verb we said is an irregular verb, right? So it doesn't follow the standard inflectional rules that we have in Chi. So for example, the negative of wo is ni, okay? Which doesn't follow the standard negation rule that we have in Chi, okay? So you have wo, but the negative is ni, all right? Ni. So if you don't have a girlfriend, you would say, Debi, mini mpena. Debi, mini mpena. Debi, mini mpena. I can also ask, waware pen. Waware pen. Waware pen. So if I take out the pen, I have waware, which was the question, are you married? Okay, so the pen here is before. So waware pain. Have you married before? All right. Waware pain. Waware pain. All right. So in response to this, if indeed you've married before, you can say ane maware pain. Ane maware pain. But if you've never married before, you say debi menware da. Debi menware da. Okay, so if it's positive, you use pain before. If it's negative, you use da, never. Okay, debi menware da. And by extension to this, I can ask wowo ba. Wowo ba. Wowo ba. Okay, so ba is child, right? So wowo ba. Do you have a child? All right, wowo ba. Or I can go straight forward and ask you wowo ma. Okay, so without knowing whether you even have a single child, I can ask if you have kids. And in response to this, you can say ane mewo ba. Okay, ane mewo ba. That is if you have just a single child, right? So you say ane mewo ba. Ane mewo ba. But if you have more than a single child, you say ane mewo ma. Ane mewo ma. But if you don't have a child, you just say debi mini ba. Debi mini ba. Okay, debi mini ba. I told you the negative of wo, which is to have, is ni, to not have. Okay, so debi mini ba. Now let's add one thing that was not included in our earlier video on the self, and that is age. All right, so we did not add our age in that video. So let's ask how old someone is. Okay, so your addressee, how old is he or she? And then we go on to respond to that. So to ask for someone's age, you simply ask wedi mfie saying. Wedi mfie saying. Okay, so the D here is to attain. Okay, to attain. And then we have mfie, which is the plural of afe. Afe is a year. Okay, mfie, years. All right, so you have attained how many years? All right, wedi mfie saying. All right, so this is how we would generally ask for someone's age. Wedi mfie saying. Wedi mfie saying. Wedi mfie saying. Okay, so if you hear this, wedi mfie saying, asking for your age, you can respond with medi mfie, and then you add the number to this. Okay, medi mfie, and then you add the number to this, and then you have it in chi. So you need to know your numbers. All right, so if you don't know the numbers, please click on the link above, go check them out after you're done with this one. All right, so if you are 20 years of age, you need to find out what 20 is in chi. All right, which is what? Eduno. Okay, eduno. So you say medi mfie eduno. Medi mfie eduno. Okay, if you are 30 years of age, you say medi mfie ediasa. Medi mfie ediasa. Okay, if you are 40 years of age, you say medi mfie edianai. Medi mfie edianai. If you are 46 years of age, you say medi mfie edianai nsia. Medi mfie edianai nsia. Okay, so whichever age, just look out for the number in chi and add it to medi mfie, and you have it. Finally, let's look at the likes and dislikes. Okay, how to ask someone what movie he or she likes best, what game he or she likes best, what music he or she likes best, what food he or she likes best, and all that. Okay, now to ask what food someone likes best, you can ask aduane bɛn na wopɛ paa. Aduane bɛn na wopɛ paa. Aduane bɛn na wopɛ paa. Okay, so we have aduane, which is food. So we are asking aduane bɛn, what food na wopɛ paa is it that you like best? Okay, aduane bɛn na wopɛ paa. So once you have this frame, you can just replace aduane with, all the other stuff, and then you have what dash do you like best, what dash do you like best, and all that. Okay, so for example, we can take out the aduane and put agro, and then we have agro bɛn na wopɛ paa. Agro bɛn na wopɛ paa. Agro bɛn na wopɛ paa. Okay, so in response to any of these, we can say aduane a mepɛ paa ne bayra yache. Aduane a mepɛ paa ne bayra yache. Okay, so whichever food you like best, just put it right after the ne. Okay, so you replace bayra yache with that, and you have it. Aduane a mepɛ paa ne banku ne nkrumankwan. Aduane a mepɛ paa ne emu ne akokonam. Aduane a mepɛ paa ne emu ne akokonam. If we go on to the game you like best, we can say agra mepɛ paa ne bɔɔlobɔ. Agra mepɛ paa ne bɔɔlobɔ, for example. Okay, so whichever game you enjoy the most, you just take away bɔɔlobɔ and put that there. Okay, so agra mepɛ paa ne ekuturukubɔ. Okay, agra mepɛ paa ne ekuturukubɔ. So we can also ask the movie you enjoy the most, right? The movie that you enjoy the most, and for that we can ask sini bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. Sini bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. Sini bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. So sini is a movie, okay? So sini bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa, all right? And in response to this, you can say sini a m'ani gye ho paa ne, and then you add the name of that movie. Sini a m'ani gye ho paa ne Black Panther, for example. Let's move on to the music you enjoy the most, all right? So for that, we can ask enyum bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. Enyum bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. Enyum bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. So enyum is music, all right? So you have enyum bɛn na w'ani gye ho paa. Okay, so in response to this, you say enyum a m'ani gye ho paa ne high life, for example. Okay, enyum a m'ani gye ho paa ne high life. Enyum a m'ani gye ho paa ne hip life. Enyum a m'ani gye ho paa ne jazz. Okay, so any kind of music that you enjoy, just put it here, you are done. Let's end today's lesson here. This has been a very long lesson, and this is why we broke down the parts into separate videos earlier. Okay, so please, if you haven't checked those out, be sure to go check them out. The purpose of this one was to go over all that and add more to them, right? Thank you guys once again for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe before you go. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time. It's bye for now.